Here we go. Let's get started. There we go. We're up and going. All right. We got about a minute left, guys. I think that's about how long it takes for all the notifications to get it sent out, and then I'll start answering some questions. Hey, Kira. Good morning, guys. It's 11:13 in the morning where I am. What time is it where you guys are? Do you even lift? Yeah, I do lift. How much do you make a month? I think I did some math a little bit ago, yesterday, and I've made around $500 every day and since the beginning of 2018. So, wow, you guys are in all kinds of different time zones. All right, it looks like we've got around 100 people here. Notifications are still being sent out. If you guys can hear me perfectly, type a 2. If I'm a little quiet, type a 1. And if it sounds like I'm screaming, type a 3. How old am I? I've answered this a lot. I'm actually 21 years old. Oh, that little tiny thing is beeping. That means notifications should be sent out. Alright, I will move the mic closer because some of you... Oh, that's a 4. I wonder what that means. Can you guys hear me good now? There we go. Type in a 2 if you can hear me better now. I moved the mic a little bit closer. And then we'll get started. There's a 2. You guys are typing in all kinds of numbers. Alright, so let's get started. If you guys don't know, I created Practical Growth Academy at the beginning of this year, and what I do is paying members in the group, they get like all kinds of benefits from book summaries to monthly mini courses. You can check out the link in the description for more stuff. But basically, one section of that is that they ask me questions and I answer them. I do some research and then I kind of answer them on this live stream. So we're going to get into that. The first question is from Anonymous. They say, how do you organize your self-improvement? Sometimes it seems complicated from where to start. How to determine your goal in life. You know what? I have this question so often. I think I'm going to make a course specifically about goals. I'm going to try to find and optimize a goal-setting formula, and I think I have something in mind that helps people like you and all the other people who have asked questions about this, that helps them. So this is a recurring question, and as an entrepreneur, unless someone beats me to it, I'm going to create a goal-setting course with psychology as a foundation, because there is a lot of psychology into setting and keeping and tracking goals. So everyone in the Practical Growth Academy, when I set that up, will get it for free when I launch it, because I'm going to need some initial feedback. It'll probably be this summer, because right now I'm working on a sales course at the moment, but I realize that this is an issue for a lot of people, and I'd love to try to fix it. So what should your main goal in life be? Well, let me start off by getting you to the image of your highest potential. What do you think that is? What do you think your highest potential is? Some people have extraordinarily huge potentials, while others really don't see any future for themselves. The first goal that you need to set is to have an extraordinary potential, to shoot for the moon, things that you don't even believe that you could accomplish right now, but that you want to, or maybe that you need to. You need to have that kind of a goal. That's your first goal, is to set goals. That's something that's super out of reach. Then, your secondary goal is to find the path of least resistance to make that goal possible and start following it as fast as possible. If you follow the goal of trying to maximize your potential, you will never go wrong. Even if it's in small steps, even if you go one step at a time, you've got to start walking up the stairs some way. You can't just jump, because then you'll fall. So that's the best tip I have for you today, and I hope it helps to find your highest potential and then find the path of least resistance to that goal. So let's get on to the next question. Julian asks, I would like to sell a digital product that has to do with programming and can eventually earn me passive income. Do you have any idea in which direction I could progress to get there? Also, thank you so much for the great value you provide in this course. So my first advice would be to create content around programming and give it away for free. After you do that, you will start to build a following, which hopefully will be your first future customers. But then slowly you want to create content for the course or whatever digital product you're creating, and you will have the experience of creating content that people actually like, and you'll also already have a following. Because After you know how to teach online and you have a following, it's super easy to monetize that. So if you need help selling, I'm your man. I've been learning a ton about selling in the past couple of months, specifically online digital products. And I can give you the specifics on that when we get into that step, when you have a product to sell. But I'm working on a sales course at the moment and have learned a ton about the psychology of sales. For you though, my first advice is to get started, to create some free content so that you can get feedback on your teaching methods. That would be my best advice for you at the moment. Chris asks, how can I improve my observation skills? So I'm going to suggest start working and learning about something called mindfulness. This will give you a ton of benefits, but if you implement it into a daily habit, you'll also become more observational. So this is my super simple answer right now, and I think once you learn more about it and start to implement mindfulness for maybe about a week, your observation skills will greatly improve. And if they don't, describe your situation a little bit more and I'll try to answer it better next week. Alright, I think this is a pretty long answer for this one. Ryan asks, do you have any tips on how to first contact a mentor if you can't see them in person? What should you talk about in the first messages to make a good impression? How do you get them to actually respond so they can potentially be your mentor? Lastly, what do you say so you can keep in touch with making them your mentor? I'm definitely not an expert at this. I'm going to say that at the beginning, but I'm really good at things like emailing and customer support, I feel like. One of the things I can say to actually back this up is my friend submitted an application to an affiliate program, a custom affiliate program, and he actually got denied, but he didn't know that he got denied until later in the story. I'll explain it, because they didn't tell him. Anyways, I helped him write a second email to the company, and within around 4 hours of that email, they emailed him back and literally said, hey, you were denied, but I think it was human error, so I approved you. So just knowing how people see you in their head based on like some words on an email can make a huge difference. And two very important things I had him do were use exclamation marks to sound excited about it, and also to use a smile emoji. This makes you seem like a nice, friendly, and excited person, especially over the computer. It's hard to do that. Now these can be overdone, and if they are, they make you sound obsessed or kind of creepy. So make sure not to do it every sentence, something like that. Maybe 1 or 2 per 10 sentences is usually perfect. Another tip is not to write in blocky paragraphs. You don't want to write out a novel. You want to keep each line, that means like each row in the email, to 2 or 3 sentences, or however you're contacting this mentor. It's easier to read, and by being easy to read, you're associated as organized, and mentors love helping people who are organized. So if you're talking to your mentor, try to do the same thing, but in the beginning, you can talk about something that's in their expertise. Another tip is maybe even jump right in and have them teach you something. People love teaching because it automatically assumes that they are in the authority and in a higher status situation, and people love feeling like that. So ask them a question that can maybe lead to them teaching you something, but you also have to give them value back, whatever that may be. That might be an answer for another question. So Peter asks, can you give us your own answers to the actionable worksheets? I would love to see how each of the actionable worksheets has an effect on your life. This is a great idea, and I might actually start incorporating this into the sheets. So in Practical Growth Academy, you get animated book summaries where I read a book and I come up with like the top 10 best ideas, and I make a video about it. And I also give you an actionable worksheet, which basically helps you turn those ideas into action, into practice, to actually help you benefit your life. Because an idea is just an idea. You've actually got to go out and do something with it. And that's what these actionable worksheets are supposed to help you with. So Peter is asking if maybe I can fill them out myself and show you guys. And I think it's a really good idea. I think I might start doing that. Thanks for the suggestion, Peter. That's how Practical Growth Academy becomes even better. Cardi asks, can you suggest a psychology book for a person that just got into your Practical Growth Academy and self-improvement in general? So I love these questions. Specifically in psychology, Learned Optimism, written by Martin Seligman, is a great self-development book based in science, and it's about psychology. You'll learn all kinds of things, like about depression, why people get depressed, something called explanatory styles, which are really interesting to me, and practical ways to be more optimistic. For me, it was just a great read with a ton of studies to back up what you actually learn in there. So that's what I would suggest for a psychology book, is Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman. Steven, one second here, asks, in order to be successful in a certain area of expertise, I've heard that you should surround yourself with better people than you in that expertise area. My question is, how do I find influential pizza? Did I just say pizza? People, maybe I'm hungry, such as Elon Musk. And how do I convince him to help me? I'm assuming that these people have been asked for help mentorship before, and they've likely said no, but how do I make myself stand out? Also, how do I build enough courage to talk to them and go up to them without acting awkward? Alright, one way to do this is with conferences, because conferences sometimes have huge ticket prices, but you really don't pay for the speakers. You pay to go and network with other people who are interested in the same thing that the conference is about. So, if people are going to these conferences, they're going and looking for ways to grow, and specifically to network with people who are also interested in the conferences. So I suggest going to conferences to help you find more people in certain areas of expertise. And usually if they go, they're looking either for a mentor or a mentee. Some people go to conferences just looking to help other people. That's probably one of the best things that I could tell you. Let's go on to the next question. Jaitesh asks, "Hey Theodore, firstly, totally love this course and I'm thoroughly excited for your upcoming sales course, and I'm all in already. I just hope all your audience looks forward to enroll in this course and get out of their mediocrity and broke-ass zone," he says. So my question is, how can one maintain his status quo and sell something? So I've heard people saying that selling takes more than multiple times to close them, but they even say to maintain status quo in front of them, and I'm confused. How can one maintain one's status quo and ring them simultaneously every day seeing the product they can't afford to buy or don't want to buy currently? Any tips on how to handle their objection, maintain status quo, and be closable, and make them want your product no matter what it costs? He says, sorry to keep it long. No worries. I've got a pretty long answer for you too, so let's go into this. You always want to... Let's see. Let me think about this question a little bit. First of all, these questions by Jaitesh always make me think about how to answer them. So thank you for that. Thanks for the feedback on the course too, and I'm really glad that you're enjoying it. So I'm not 100% sure what you mean by status quo, but I'm going to assume dignity or maybe something like integrity. First off, one of the things I'm going to be teaching in the future sales course that is very important is that you should never sell something to someone just to make a quick buck or just to get the sell, especially if it's not going to help the customer. This is bad for you, it's bad for your company, and it's also bad for the customer. A prime example of everyone losing in the long term. You do not want to be associated with these kinds of business transactions. For some situations where the customer might actually benefit though, the customer buys because they know that they need it and they know that they want it, so it's a pretty easy sale. But for other sales situations, when you know your customer could benefit, and maybe they also know that they could benefit, but they're not ready to buy. There are a ton of psychological closing tactics and biases you could use to push a sale. I'm going to give you 3 quick tips. One is to know your customer's objections before they even start a sale. The entire sale process, you need to know their objections. 2 is to offer scarcity and let them know an offer isn't always going to be there, that you can't put all of your effort into selling to them. And if they want today's offer, they need to act right now. Number 3 is to use stories. Stories should be true and authentic, but if you have a great story, they sell really well. Maybe you can even talk about your other customers, how they got rid of pain or solved a problem, and specifically with your product or service that you're trying to sell, and testimonials are great for this. So I hope those 3 things help. Number 1 was know your customer's objection. Number 2 is to offer scarcity. And number 3 is to use stories. Also, the basic foundation of this is to make sure you're not selling something that tricks people. You want to sell something that you know will help them in the long run. Anonymous asks, how to find the right product for dropshipping business. So I've never really been asked about dropshipping before, but here's my opinion. I'm going to be totally honest with you and give my exact formula that I would do if I were in your situation and was thinking of starting a dropshipping business. First, I would find an expert. I would actually find maybe 4 to 5 experts in the dropshipping field. I know Dan De Silva is one of them. There's a couple others on YouTube that has a whole bunch of free content. Alex Becker is kind of in that niche. But I'd find them and I'd consume all of their content for free. If I found it helpful and I really liked their entertainment, their personality and stuff like that, and I think I could actually get value out of it, I would go ahead and buy their premium stuff. Whether that be courses, books, whatever other thing they have to offer that is a paid plan, I would buy it. By doing this, consuming their free and paid content, you're already ahead of 90% of people in the dropshipping market because you've learned from the experts. Now, after that, you can start working on your own dropshipping business, and I actually guarantee in one of those courses you might have taken, you'll find a module that teaches you the exact answer to your question, how to find the right product. For me, I'd rather spend the money learning from other people instead of learning from my own mistakes. So that's how I justify this answer. Now, there is a point in time where you have to learn from your own actions, and that's very important. But if I were you, just starting, I'd find the right product by studying the experts. Now, obviously, I'm not an expert in dropshipping, so I don't want to give any tactical tips like go to this website and pick this one, or what you use every day, sell that, because I can't give that kind of advice because I'm not an expert dropshipper. But I would go to expert dropshippers and learn from them. That's how I would approach this question. So I hope that helps you. Someone else asks, I'm into wrong habit of just learning. So basically they think that they keep learning, but they cannot have the motivation to actually go and do something. How can they change their habits and adopt a new one instead of and start to actually do stuff? They don't know where to start. I think this question has been answered before, but basically you need to start small. You don't go up the stairs by trying to jump 8 stair steps at a time, unless you're like me about 6 months ago, actually trying to jump up 8 stair steps. But the trick here is to take one step at a time, and before you know it, you're at the top of the stairs. So small action at first, small things. Then you build up your willpower and your self-control and focus. You build up your focus to where you can actually sit down like I did today and go, I'm going to record 4 scripts back to back without stopping. And then I actually did that. Curiosity helps a lot with this, with doing, and you'll actually learn. You can justify it by saying you're going to learn a lot more actually doing something than reading about it. For example, how hard would it be to learn to surf by reading a book? You're going to learn more in 10 minutes of actually surfing than probably reading 10 books on surfing. So just do. You just have to get into the mindset of do. And if you need the help to like kind of justify it, you're going to learn a lot more by doing than by reading something or watching something. So next question is from Brad. Why do people never do a first approach? For example, with girls, why do they never approach first? This is an interesting question, but I'm going to say that it's more of a cultural thing in today's culture. The guys are supposed to chase the girls usually. I'm not saying that's right, but even back to evolutionary history, the guys would chase the girls. And I think from the textbooks and psychology textbooks I've read, it has something to do with the fact that girls pick because they have to carry a child around with them for 9 months if something happens, and the genes of who they picked with them. So they want to make sure that they pick a guy who sticks around with them and can support them and can give them resources and protect them. Where if the guy's picked, like Genghis Khan, they say for every 200 people in the world, one is a child of some form or another of his descendants. So this is a hard question to answer, honestly. On a practical level, sometimes girls might be intimidated to approach you. Other times they might not actually be attracted to approach you. Also, there's in the middle. Maybe there are some people who would like to approach you, but they're lazy or they don't have the courage. So even if they do want to, they might not have the internal forces to push them to do so. So asking why people don't approach you is a very difficult question to answer, and there's a lot of answers to it. Next question, Mac asks, what's the easiest way to forget about the past? So this is another interesting question. You need to keep moving forward. That's what I would suggest. Keep learning, stay motivated, and try to stay curious as much as possible. I wouldn't say that you want to completely forget about the past, because what you're trying to forget about might have been a painful experience, and usually pain is a great teacher, even if it's not so fun to go through. So you don't want to forget about that pain and then make the same mistake again. However, sometimes we do need to work on not thinking about a specific thing, or maybe forget about something, and forgetting about something is the best way to maybe get past it for you. To do that psychologically, you need to kind of distract the brain with something new. It can't focus on 2 things at once, so teach it something new. Teach your brain something new. Learn something new. Go experience something new. If you can, get fascinated by something in some way or the other. And that, I think, will help you do what you want to accomplish. It'll help you forget about the past or a painful experience. So I hope that answer helps. Ryan asks, what do you do when you're scared about something? Sometimes I put it off, in all honesty. Like getting my wisdom teeth pulled out, I probably should get that pulled out. That's just the honest answer. The answer you're probably looking for is something like systematic desensitization, where you slowly get used to something and then that you're afraid of, and then or maybe even scared of, or you have a phobia about, and slowly you build up to it and you build resistance, and then you're not afraid of it anymore by the end of the therapy. Hopefully. Another way to do it is to just jump right in. Maybe like run before you walk, so to say. When I was little and my siblings would go to the pool, here's a little story that I think is a little funny. I remember the pool being so cold. Like, I'd dip my toe in. I was always that kid that would dip his toe in and imagine how cold it would be jumping in, and I would just internalize it and be, oh my goodness, jumping in this pool is going to be so bad, but I really want to swim. And it took forever to get into the pool. My brother, however, he just went and cannonballed right into the middle of the pool, and he got the shock of the cold water over in a couple seconds. So that might be one approach that you might want to take. If this answer didn't really answer your question well, ask it again with more detail, and I'll try to be more specific about it next week with more context. Someone asked last time that I speak really quickly, and sometimes when I'm telling a story, I do get carried away, so I'm kind of working on that. I acknowledge that, and I'm going to try to work on that in this question. Bort asks, hold on one second. Bort asks, I was recently ghosted for the first time after Valentine's Day by a girl I'd been dating for about a month and a half. I really like this girl, and as far as I know, I didn't do anything wrong. We never had any fights or problems, so it was really confusing and disappointing. Nevertheless, it took about a week for me to accept that I was actually ghosted, and I tried being stoic about it, but there were times when it just hurt too much to do anything outside of work. Because of this, I'm a little off track with trying to implement my own business or passive income. How can I get back on track and not let this discouragement get in the way? Hey Bort, this is a very interesting and disappointing situation. So, I'm sorry that you had to go through it. There might be going more on than stated, or it might be that you know about, and I hope both of you are okay. One of the best ways to get over a breakup, so to say, which is kind of the situation that you're going through, is to distract yourself. Some people will resort to work and have crazy productivity when they get into it. Other people fall on their family or especially close friends, and they spend more time with their friends and family. But I've seen people in my life who break up and distract themselves. They seem to continue with a pretty positive outlook on life. So, ghosting is terrible and leaves a lot of unanswered questions, which can ultimately make you question a lot of your actions, right? But you need to know that it probably wasn't you. A normal person doesn't ghost someone, especially if they've been dating for over a month. Honestly, as harsh as it sounds, you're probably better off without her, and she might have had deeper problems or both of you guys might have had deeper relationship foundational problems if the relationship would have continued maybe even for over a year. So it's hard to see from an outsider's opinion, but it's going to be better, I promise you. My advice is to get back on track, is to justify and maybe even cope with it by rationalizing by the fact that she wasn't for you, and try to spend more time with your friends and family, and possibly even building your business or passive income like you mentioned. So I hope this answer helps, and I hope it's what you're looking for. I try to answer to the best of my ability. The next question is by Nam or Nam. They say, hi Theodore, I'm a college student, first year. Do you have any networking tips or tips for finding a study buddy? Thanks for considering my question. Hey Nam, my first advice would be to definitely not wait for someone to come and ask you to be their friend. I did this my first year of college, and I ended up having no memorable or serious relationships, no friends. What I wish I would have done if I could go back was to go out of my own way, above and beyond, to look for places that I was already at and find friends that in doing things that I was interested in. So just reach out and ask people if they want to hang out when you're doing something that like you would normally do. Like if you like going to the laboratory or maybe the library, ask people around those situations because they are already interested in doing the things that you're going to go do. So I'd say look in the classes or clubs that you're in, the school clubs, not like party clubs, and work up the courage as much as you can to talk to other people and ask if they'd like to study or maybe hang out or do something similar in that fashion. So I hope that helps you. The number one thing on here is do not wait for someone to come ask you. The best way to do it is to have the courage, build up that self-worth, that self-esteem, to go out and ask someone else. Mac asks, what is the thing that you regret the most until now? Oh, I don't know if I really regret anything too much, because changing something in the past wouldn't lead me to where I am now, even if it was a great failure at the time. But there's definitely a lot of pain that I would have avoided if I could go back and change that pain. A lot of it related to college. In my first semester, I didn't really make any friends, like I mentioned before. During the first couple weeks are the prime time to make friends, because everyone else is looking to make friends. But after that, I didn't really make any friends, and the curriculum at the college I was at was really hard and dense because it was a quote elite engineering school, and After that, I spent all of my time studying without very many friends to hang out with. I did come home a lot, and that was nice, but when I didn't come home, I basically taught myself search engine optimization, something called SEO, and created a website. Right now, I think it still gets like 200 views a day, but it doesn't really make much money, and it doesn't really grow, but I did learn a lot from it. So I kind of went off on a tangent answering that question. What is the thing I regret most until now? Probably not reaching out and making friends earlier. That's probably the biggest thing that I wish I was more in the past. I wish I was more sociable, so to say. So I think that's the end of these questions from the members in Practical Growth Academy. I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions in the YouTube chat. Let's see how that goes. Hopefully there aren't any weird ones like last time. Because you guys do get a little weird in these. How to start your own business from scratch? It really depends on what industry you want to get started in. I would recommend getting started in any industry that you already know something about. Because you don't want to start and completely learn from scratch. Usually you'll increase your chances of success if you start in something that you already have expertise in. That's a lot of questions, guys. Actually, let's go over here because we're done with the questions. How to get rid of anxiety? It depends on what your anxiety is about. You can use some of the methods I mentioned earlier, like systematic desensitization or the run before you walk technique. Can I start a business as a teenager? I think legally, no, but technically, yes. I started earning money online when I was like 14 years old. So, any digital marketing course from you? I do not have any courses on digital marketing, although I'm creating one right now about selling. It's going to be called The Psychology of Selling, I believe. I haven't finalized the decision on that title, but I will have some videos in there about digital marketing. How to talk with girls without shyness, especially to my crush. I actually created an entire course called The Psychology of Attraction. There's a link in the description. You can get it off for like 52% off, and you'll get access to a whole bunch of videos that explain all kinds of foundational things that if people just knew, they could really boost their relationships and really improve the quality of all of their relationships. It's called The Psychology of Attraction. It's more of a men's dating course, but really everything in that course is foundational to having a great relationship. How to get started in fitness at 14 years. 14 years, it really depends on your body type. Some people can really start weightlifting. Some people can do a lot of cardio. 14 years, you're still developing. So what I would say to you, the best thing that you could possibly do at 14 years to maybe set the foundations of your fitness life is, number one, learn. You need to learn as much as you can because there's a lot of false information out there about in the fitness industry. And number two, try to set up work on your self-control, because that is something, and your willpower, because that is something that will help you when you reach maybe if you want to get into weightlifting when you reach at least like age 20 and you can really hardcore go into weightlifting. I know for sure most people can go into weightlifting, but sometimes around the age of 14 I would not recommend extreme weightlifting. How do we study when we've lost our willpower? There's a lot of that's kind of a loaded question. Sometimes you've lost your willpower because it's not your passion, but sometimes you do have to push through and keep studying. So a tip for that would be, let's see if I can think one that I use when I have to do something that I don't like. Kind of condition yourself. After you do a little bit, reward yourself, then do a little bit more, then reward yourself again. How to explain things better without mumble jumble. There's something called the Feynman technique, I believe is what it's called. I'm going to make an entire video about it. But really, I get better at explaining things the more that I explain them. I want to go through and look at some of these names, see if anyone in Practical Growth Academy stands out. I usually don't do live streams until later. How did you make yourself read more? Because I know it's important, but it makes you really tired after like 10 pages. Yeah, that is, you mentioned you did not read as much in the beginning. That's true. I didn't read much in the beginning, but I'm gonna say this: I read a lot because it's my job. Like, I literally get paid the. You can kind of think about it that way too. It's kind of twofold, because the more that I read, the more book summaries I could create. The more in the beginning of Practical Psychology, the more viewers I had, which translated to more money. And eventually I was able to quit my job. But the twofold of that is, literally, the more knowledge that I gained and perspectives I got from reading books helped me earn more money. There's, like, January of last year, I earned $15,000. January of 2017, I earned $15,000 that month. And in 2 or 3 months, it was gone. And it was just because I did not completely understand how to manage that money. Now, last month I earned $15,000. This month, February, I think I've earned like $16,000. So I'm getting better, and I've actually started keeping it. My net worth is growing. I have learned from reading a whole bunch of books last year about finances and budgeting and spending money and growing businesses and stuff like that. I've actually been able to implement what I've learned in those books in my life. So that is one of the ways that I have motivated myself to read more. Your way of talking is nice, bro. Thanks. I'm not sure if you mean my way of explaining things or my voice. When I read a lot of comments, and a lot of people's, I get people on either extremes. Someone said that they fell in love with my voice, and someone else said that they hated my voice and that I was a horrible person because I made videos with my voice. So YouTube comments are, well, they're a different beast. How to get the best mindset to grow rich. The best mindset, you need a growth mindset, you need to read a lot of books, and you need to work on your social skills, because one of the things I've noticed is that the more people I reach out to, the more people I reach, my income, there's like a bump in it. It's not like steady. It's like it goes along, and then I talk to someone new and I learn something new. I take a course, I read a book, boom, it goes up like 20 or 30% at a time. So yo, let the man think for a second. Someone said they fell in love with my voice. That's something else I was thinking about earlier. If I get my wisdom teeth removed, is my voice going to change? Does anyone have the answer to that question? I don't think it'll change much, but how old is he? I am 21 years old. What's the fastest and most efficient way of learning a language? I think there have been studies done on this, and the fastest and most efficient way of learning any new language is just to literally buy a plane ticket, go to that country where that language is spoken most often, and just drop yourself right in the middle of it. It's called the immersion technique, and it works for a lot of people. But it's a little, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. How can someone contact you? I have an email address, practicalpsychologytips@gmail.com. If you join Practical Growth Academy, there's a link to a Discord in there, and you can PM me on there. You can ask any question you want. I'd love to answer it. Also in Practical Growth Academy, if you have any questions, just like in today's live stream, I go through and I research the questions, and then I answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, making $15,000 at 21, he says he feels useless. You should not feel that way. I have been there before. I remember when I was working at a factory it was probably 3 years ago. 2015. That was about when I graduated high school. Yep. 3 years ago, I was in my senior year of high school, and I remember thinking, I have no idea what life has for me. And thinking about it now, it's getting me a little emotional, because a couple days ago I had my first $1,000 day, and that was a big deal for me, because I went from literally earning $1,000 a month, working over 50 hours a week for an entire month. I made less than $1,000 that month, and a couple days ago I made $1,000 in one day. So you will get there if you keep learning, keep growing, and keep working on yourself. I guarantee it. Why do you think people create flaws in themselves? I think people don't do it on purpose. I think sometimes flaws are in there because of something called nurture, which is a psychological term for, like, when you're aged from 0 to like probably 8 years old, you're there, but you don't really have that much control over yourself. There's other people governing you, making decisions for you, and within those years, you're being, quote, nurtured, which means your personality traits and other stuff like that is being developed, but not by you. And after the age of like 16, probably under 16, but I'm just going to say generality around 16, you can really start to work on yourself and go, this is a quality trait of me that I need to get rid of, and maybe this is a quality trait that I need to replace it with. So it really depends on, people might be quote unquote flawed. They might see themselves as flawed if they haven't reached that point in their life where they go, you know, I can change myself. I want to change myself. So let's get it done. How to not be confused all the time. 2 tips for this. 1, work on your organizational skills. Or 2, find someone who is really organized and team up with them. How should I use social media? It really depends on what you want to accomplish with your social media. Hi, how have you been doing? How is the money making going? Pretty good. I've been doing really well, and I've made more money this month than I think I ever have in my life, so it's been doing pretty well. Raise my voice. Hey guys, if I'm talking perfect for your headphones or whatever you're listening to on, type a 2. If I'm too quiet, type a 1. And if I'm too loud, type a 3. Thanks for sharing all this wisdom, man. That's what I'm here for. I love helping people. What do you mean as seen on in the videos? All of those channels I have collaborated with, except for Charisma on Command, which I am in the process of collaborating with. Can you guys name all of them? Here, I'll go through with you. As seen on, the first one is Practical Psychology. The second one is a channel called Psych2Go. The third one is, well, we all know Alpha M. The fourth one is Improvement Pill, which he recently had a video go viral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one is Clark Kegley from the channel Refusing to Settle. Awesome channel. He's really authentic. I love his style. The sixth one is Brandon from 1% Better. Seventh one is obviously Charisma on Command. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're on number 9. The ninth one is Valuetainment. And the last one is Evan Carmichael. You guys know any of those channels? Anime Fanboy says, hi bro, I'm 15 and I'm struggling with stupid insecurities I can't get over with. So if you can, write down all those insecurities and then try to make a goal list to cross out those insecurities as you overcome them. Well, something that really helps with insecurities is having more confidence. And I don't want to explain all of them in this video, but if you go to one of my other videos, scroll down in the description, you'll find a little link that says free 27 confidence boosting hacks or something like that. What you do is you click on that link. You have to type in your email and you hit the enter button, you hit the submit button, and basically what that'll do is that'll add your email to my emailing list, so you'll get my future emails, which is really cool. I recently did like a little coaching. I'm coaching some people for free, and they only had that opportunity if they were on my email list. But after you go to that 27 confidence boosting hacks link, immediately after you enter your email, I will send you to a page that has literally 27 confidence boosting hacks that I think could really help you. Do you do counseling? Not necessarily. Right now I'm in the process of coaching some people. I'm coaching them to, number 1, make sure that what I'm teaching about sales and my sales course actually works, and number 2, to maybe get some testimonials about the sales course, because it's a lot easier to sell something if you have testimonials and you can prove that what you're teaching actually works. So I want to make sure that the content in the sales course that I'm about to launch, probably in May, actually works. I want to make sure that it actually helps people. I don't want to sell something that isn't going to help people. So I'm doubling down and basically giving away content for free in turn of making sure that the content works. How to be social. I think I actually have a whole video on that. How can I be more patient? Tip to this is to practice little tiny things. Something that might help your patience is something called mindfulness. What degree did you graduate with? Funny story, I haven't actually graduated any college. I went my first semester out of high school. I went to nuclear engineering college. Decided after, I might explain that story in a whole video. It was pretty funny. If you eat a whole bunch of bananas, you can actually make a radioactive detector go off. That was a very interesting story because the potassium in bananas is radioactive. Anyways, there was a semester at nuclear engineering college. After that, I realized nuclear engineering was not something that I wanted to do. So then I kind of quote-unquote downgraded to a community college where I took business classes, And then while I was doing that, I was like, you know what? I am learning more starting my own business than I am taking these business classes. And January of last year, this is going to be a kind of harsh, maybe not the best decision I've ever made, but in looking back on it, it probably was a pretty good decision. I was starting my 3rd semester of business school, and I was like, I really do not like doing this homework. A lot of it I already know. It's just putting in the work. And what am I going to get out of it? Just a degree so someone can hire me? That is not my end goal. My end goal is to be an entrepreneur who helps people. I want to create jobs. I want to help people in whatever way possible using the skills that I have developed. And also that month, so I was hating my homework, and I also made $15,000 that month. And that was like maybe I should maybe I should drop this semester and see what happens. So I dropped that semester, and I was able to go all in, not just part-time, all in on YouTube. And that was when I was like, wow, I have never been in a place in my life before where I can actually love what I'm doing and get paid for it. So that's why I haven't went back to college, I guess. What is your philosophy about life? I have a lot of philosophies. What's the best way to earn money as a student? The general answer for that is going to be a job. Probably the best way for most people. If you have certain entrepreneurial tendencies, you could maybe start a business, but there is a very high chance you're going to fail at that business. So if you're going for money, I would say get a job. If you're going to learn, if you want to learn something and maybe make a lot more money in the future, and you have the foundation of entrepreneurial tendencies, then I could say maybe you could start a business. Any more questions? Will there be a face reveal? Maybe. I think I might be moving next month, and that would give me the possibility to, one, have faster internet, and I think I might buy a webcam and do some live streams with my face. We'll see, though. How to become intelligent? Intelligence means a lot of different things. I think the main definition of it is when someone gives you information about a problem and you're able to solve the problem in the quickest way possible. I think that's what intelligence, I don't know, I might have to look up Did the books also make you tired in the beginning? Yeah, I did have to build up my, self-control. I had to build up my self-control and focus, because in the beginning, reading the books was, I'd read 10 pages and I'd be like, this is enough. And then I'd get to where I was at 20 pages, and then 100 pages. And now, there are some books that I go through and I, so to say, read them in a couple hours, just because my method of reading isn't necessarily reading every word, but it's getting out of the book something valuable to you. How to be politically correct while still being able to enjoy life? That's a very difficult question, because that means conforming to other people's boundaries. Single best piece of advice you can offer. Probably don't do something that you know will make you feel guilty. That does a lot of bad things psychologically. It's probably off the top of my head the best piece of advice I could offer. Don't do things that make you feel guilty. Yes, I probably am getting a little quieter. I was moving away from the mic. Have you tested your IQ? The last time I tested my IQ was, I believe, in 4th grade. So remember, IQ is actually divided by your age, I believe. So as you get older, it's more difficult to have a higher IQ because your age is a factor. So I was like in 4th grade. I'm not sure how old that. I think 12 years old maybe. So 4th grade. I was in 4th grade last time I had it tested, and I scored high enough. I think it was 135. I'm not sure. To get into the advanced, so they call it the gifted program, but it's really a lot of people could have gotten into it if they took the test seriously at that age. Is it possible to increase your IQ? If you could reduce your age, you can definitely increase your IQ. But I think working on your problem solving, because IQ isn't necessarily knowing a lot of stuff. It's about your ability to solve problems. So if you get better at solving problems, yeah. We got 178 people watching. We're at 44 minutes. of this live stream. Will you make a video about how to read efficiently? So I've actually made 2 videos. One video on how to read faster, which was a collaboration, which was, I think, about a year ago. And I recently made a video about how to read faster. You can check that out on my channel. Alright, guys. I think I might leave pretty soon. I got some more things to record. If you're interested in me mentoring you, check out Practical Growth Academy with the link in the description. You'll get all kinds of benefits, including a $20 Amazon gift card that I'll send you within 48 hours of you signing up. And Practical Growth Academy only costs $17 a month. You can cancel anytime. Do you know what that means? That means if you sign up the first month, I'm literally going to be paying you $3, because it costs $17 a month, and then I'm going to pay you $20 Amazon gift card. And you can cancel after that, which means if you don't like it, you can cancel. Keep the $3 and all the knowledge that you get. It's a pretty good deal. Sellout? It's not a sellout. I'm helping a lot of people with this. And you guys are helping me because of the adpocalypse thing. So this is my way of trying to monetize my channel more, to continue earning money to support myself so that I can continue giving value. And there are a ton of people in Practical Growth Academy that love it, so. Jitesh says, join his course, guys, it's gold. Jitesh is one of the guys that asked a question. Let's see. I believe he was the one about keeping the status quo, so. Yep, it's only $17. $17 a month, and you can cancel anytime. You'll get 4 animated book summaries every month. Along with those book summaries, you'll get actionable worksheets, which are basically PDFs that help you turn what you learned in the book summaries into practices in your life. How to deal with getting laughed at for being bald. I would say not necessarily to change your baldness, but work on your self-worth. That's a really good video idea, self-worth. Maybe I could go into the psychological aspects of increasing PHP or Android. What? I do know PHP. I believe it's a recursive acronym, and I do use Android. Hey, someone joined. Cool. Alright, guys. Unless you guys ask some really interesting questions, I'm going to get off here and start recording some stuff for the sales course. What are people thinking about me when I make eye contact? The thing about people's thoughts is that they're literally all over the place. So they could make eye contact with you and they could be thinking about anything, literally. The next stream will be next week, probably Wednesday around noon. Maybe 11 o'clock. How long did it take your channel to take off? This is a really interesting question. I want to answer it for you guys. So I started my channel February 13th of 2016. So I started there. It took me, actually I've got this little sticky note right here. This sticky note right here is what motivates me to keep going. Not necessarily, you guys do. So it's a stat sheet. It took me 3 months to get 1,000 subscribers. Now I almost get 1,000 subscribers every day. In 3 months, I got 1,000 subscribers and 34,000 views. In 6 months, it took me 6 months to get 10,000 subscribers. So I was working away, making a whole bunch of videos, and I only got up for 6 months, for half a year, and I only got 10,000 subscribers. It took me 8 months. 8 months was when I hit 30,000 subscribers and 1 million views. That was a big mark for me. 1 million views. 8 months was the month that I quit my job because I asked myself, you know, at my part-time job, I'm making $650 a month. If I can make $650 a month on YouTube, I'll quit my job and go all in on this YouTube thing. 8 months was that month. So 3 months, 1,000 subscribers. 6 months, 10,000 subscribers. 8 months, 30,000. And almost at a year was when I hit 240,000. 250,000 subscribers. So it really blew up between 8 months and 10 months. So remember, guys, sometimes the hard work doesn't pay off, and right before you're about to quit is when it pays off. What's the most important thing that I have to learn before 20s? There's a lot of important things you should try to learn before you're 20 years old, before you're 30 years old. I'm still learning. I learn a lot from you guys, actually. You guys teach me all kinds of stuff about marketing and advertising and relationships. Did you guys see what I did on Instagram? I did a little Instagram test where I posted a picture and said, send me something you like about me and I'll send you something I like about you. And I went through and answered a whole bunch of people. A lot of people said really nice things about me, so I went through their profile, found some cool stuff, and told them. It was a pretty cool experiment. I'm working on relationship with you guys. Well, would you still do it if YouTube didn't pay you a penny? Yes. Yes, I would. That doesn't mean I want YouTube to completely demonetize my channel. That just means I love what I do. I love helping you guys. I would just find, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'd find other ways to monetize my efforts. Hopefully. Might be eating ramen for a couple months, but I'd find it. What is the secret to success of the YouTube channel? The secret to success of any YouTube channel is to do what YouTube wants you to do, which is basically keep more people on their website so that they make more money, right? So you need to make videos that are interesting and have people watch them for a long period of time, and then after they're done watching it, you either want them to do one of three things. You either want them to subscribe so that the way they get notifications of future videos and come back on YouTube. YouTube really likes that because they make more money. You either want to send them to someone else's video, that way they binge watch their channel, or you want to send them to more of your videos. If you can do that, YouTube will give you all kinds of love. Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? Honestly, I'm 21 years old right now, and just seeing other people in my life that are 31 years old, I'm like, wow, there is a lot that could change in 10 years. In fact, this channel did not exist 3 years ago, so it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say where. Do you have any interest aside from psychology? So I love psychology. I also love business. I also have other interests. I love building things. If I could sum up what I wanted to be in college, I wanted to be something called an efficiency engineer, which basically means I looked at processes and tried to find out ways that I could make them more efficient. And that was the one thing that I wanted to be, but they did not have like any, they didn't have a name for that in college, so I went with nuclear engineer. Now I found out sometimes industrial engineers kind of do that, but my love for that, trying to make a process better, is what has really helped me with building this channel. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Next week, of course, unless you join Practical Growth Academy, then I'll be available 24/7 to answer your questions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in a week.